Hey guys, it's Lauren from the Express Lane. With spring officially upon us, we're in full spring cleaning mode, including our resumes. While we always recommend updating your resume as your job role changes or you earn a new certification, sometimes it's good to just sit down and give your resume a good old scrub. So let's dive in. Starting from the top down, let's take a look at contact information. The fact of the matter is that no one will actually be able to contact you if your contact information is wrong. You want to double check your phone number, update your address if you've moved, and be sure to include a professional email address where an employer can reach you. Gone are the days where you need to include your full home address at the top of your resume. If you just include the city and state where you live, employers can still get a good idea of if you're local or if you're moving to the area and how long your commute to work might be. One of the other important things to remember is to treat your resume as a standalone document. So even though you might have applied for a position through an online job board, chances are that the recruiter is going to look at your resume in the PDF. They're going to forward the PDF via email to a colleague, or they're going to print off a paper copy of that PDF and hand it to a department manager. So this means that when the department manager finally reaches out to you and says that they're interested in bringing you in for an interview, they're only looking at the details that are provided on that single resume's PDF. This is why it's so important to include all of your contact information on that resume and make sure that it's double checked, because even if your contact information is right in your job profile on that job board website, if it's not correct on your resume, you might lose out on your job opportunity. Next, if you don't currently have a summary section on your resume, you might want to consider adding one. This section is fantastic for highlighting skills or career accomplishments that may not have a spot somewhere else on your resume. And keep in mind, this is the first area a recruiter will look at when your resume comes across their desk. You want to make sure that it stands out. When it comes to your summary section, as well as your experience section, it's important to get specific. In Jane's summary section, she talks about how she has 10 years of experience in the pastry industry and how she has won 20 national baking competitions. The more numbers you can use to paint a picture of what you did, the better. It's good to point out that an outdated resume is an easy way to reject a candidate. So now is the time to update your experience section. First, you want to start by updating the dates of your previous experiences and then adding new ones. If your work experience is lacking, you might even want to consider adding a volunteer activity or an internship. If the job listed is one you worked in the past, your verb tense should also be in the past. So because Jane used to work at a position, she's going to say that she supervised instead of she is currently supervising. And while we're talking about verbs, you might want to consider mixing up your verbiage as well. While Jane could have listed supervised under both of the roles that she had, she instead opted to change the word to managed for her event coordinator role instead, so that she had different verbs for each of her jobs. And last but not least, it's important to remember that recruiters are on the go as much as the rest of us. So keep in mind that it is likely your resume is actually being reviewed on a mobile device. To help with this, you want to make sure that the font you choose is easy enough to read and the size of the font is large enough. If you're at all worried about this, try opening up your resume on a mobile device to make sure you can easily read it before sending it to the recruiter. And while we're on the note of formatting, unless you're applying for a marketing or graphic design position, you want to keep the script fonts and bold colors to a minimum. Now it's your turn. Share with us in the comments below how you will be updating your resume for spring. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you back here next Wednesday where we share even more tips to help you get your career in the Express Lane.